We are doing the first part on retail math. This is part of my series on how to make a reselling business more like your fashion buyer. And we are getting into retail math. First part might not be the most interesting, but I did feel like I need to speak to my experience with retail math and how I apply it to profitability within my reselling business. I'm gonna go through how two different companies deal with profits and margins within their business. Part two, I'm gonna talk about how I directly put that in my business and some quick tips on how you can improve your Poshmark profit. So I'm gonna go through the two places I worked. So I worked for 6 years at Neiman Marcus in the buying office, and then I worked for a year at JCPenney in the buying office. I bought jewelry at JCPenney. I don't know anything about jewelry. So working at Neiman's, I worked in more of the Missy department. So we bought Lafayette 148, we bought Canada Goose, we bought private label Neiman Marcus Cashmere, really kind of a hodgepodge of different brands. Things that I feel like people don't really realize is how much profit that Neiman's is making on those brands. So if you are Chanel and you're selling at Neiman's, you're a 5% margin rate on selling Chanel. Chanel wants to be at Neiman's, but much more importantly, really wants Chanel in their store. It drives traffic, it drives customers. So then they very small margin rate with Chanel. With our brands, we had a really healthy margin rate. We had about a 50% margin rate. So we would go in, I'm just gonna give a quick example. Say we were buying from a brand like Lafayette 148. We would go in and we would say, this is not an accurate price, but we would say, okay, we're gonna pay you $50 for this top. We're gonna sell it for $100. You need to be able to support that 50% margin. So if we had markdowns and we would mark down after about 3 months, say we marked down that $100 top to $75, that $25 Lafayette 148 owed us at the end of season. If they didn't meet those requirements and they didn't give us money at the end of the season, we either A, would return items back to them, so we'd return merchandise that wasn't selling well, or we would stop working with them. So this was an agreed upon contract. So at the end of every season, large wire transfers that would be sent to Neiman's to support that $25. Obviously, it'd be $25 times hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So for me, I think that this is very specific to businesses more brand focused. You have to be very aware of how the retailer has originally priced the item. So now I'm gonna move into if your business is maybe more style based, if you're doing vintage, and that's gonna be similar to how I saw retail at JCPenney. Because with JCPenney, their original retail and their margins, because most of the stuff was private label, was just whatever they wanted it to be.